Okay, so here we are. I got it up on the rear brake up on the bench. It was a little bit fiddly to get out. It didn't want to come out, so all I did was I just grabbed it by the actuating arm, just kind of lifted it up. It was kind of stuck no matter how much I jiggled it, so just gave it a real light tap with my rubber mallet. It popped out. So lots of brake dust inside. It's all rusty, so I clean that up a little bit. Certainly going to just wire brush that a little light wire brushing. I'll take the sanding paper around as well. So looking at this, in the back side here, the bearing is an open bearing, which I just despise. I hate open bearings. But it's got this rubber seal that is beveled here that the wheel fits up against. So that's actually not too bad. It doesn't look like there's lots of dirt in there, so it would seem that the seal was working. It was doing some sealing. But I might have a look at that and see if I can find out what number of bearing fits in there, and I might go with a sealed bearing. We'll see. But when I push that in, doesn't seem to be moving from side to side, which is usually a good sign. So, and it's not making any noise when I turn it, which is also a good sign. I'm not feeling any dragging. So maybe for now we'll just leave that, set that aside, and I'll look at that later. But anyway, here's the shoes, and lots and lots of wear on these guys. They're not big wide shoes. This is a 6-inch. This is a 6-inch. So you know, and it's not very wide. But when I look at it now, I'm going to just measure it and see how much meat is on these shoes. So what I'll do is I'll get in here and just give this a quick wipe so I can actually see the difference between the edge of the, there we go, now I can see the metal. There we go. Alright, so what do I got here? I got 1, 2, 3, about a little more than 3 millimeters there. About the same here, 3, and about the same here, 3. So what about the other shoe now? So this one is actually, yeah, it's a little more than 3, about the same. So well, this is about it's almost 4 here. It was actually a little wider. Let me double check that. Yeah, it's actually 4 millimeters. It's more than 3 for sure. It's 4 millimeters. So, yeah, 4 millimeters. So this shoe's got 4 millimeters on it, left on it. This shoe's got 3. So this is what I was talking about, where the shoes are not evenly applying. Clearly, this one was being applied first. It's got an extra millimeter of material taken off it. So when I look at the orientation of the brake, it sits in the wheel this way. The rod comes through and pulls this. So the cam forces the shoes out, and this one is because the rotation is this way. This one's the leading shoe. This one's the trailing shoe, and this is the one with all the wear. So because this wasn't able to move freely, because these nuts that hold it in, or sorry, these bolts that hold it in are too tight, because you can see it's not moving, so it's in there tight. They just reefed on this at the factory, and it's got no lateral movement at all. So the thing to do now is going to take this brake apart and see if we can help it out a bit by adjusting this. I don't know what you would call this portion here. What do they call it in the manual? Let me have a quick look. Part number 30, rear brake cam bush. So we'll call it the cam bush. So it's that cam bush that's not free to move. And on this one as well, they've got a, as you can see, they got a chrome plate here for wear indicator. So that's not helping actually. The old ones and even a lot of the other Indian models, they don't seem to have this, or else people have removed them. So this cam bush actually is contacting the brake plate and able to move on it. So, okay. So I'm going to get busy. I'm going to take this apart and I'm going to start to clean it out. Get the brake dust out of it, get all the grease off it, clean up the chrome here because this part here is actually chromed. Just clean everything up and make it a lot nicer. Get everything properly lubricated. And then just make sure that these bolts are put in with a little bit of room, so that they leave a little bit of room for this cam bush to slide a little bit. Doesn't have to move much, just a millimeter or two, just enough to kind of evenly apply the brakes. But one brake with 3 millimeters of meat left and the other with 4. And the new brakes, I think they're probably around 4. Let's have a look. Wouldn't be surprised because, like I said, I wasn't really using that brake. So what's this guy got on it? Oh no, actually, this brake is 6 millimeters. Oh yeah, there's 6 millimeters of meat on these guys. So a new brake is a lot more meat. So those are half worn. So just shows you that even the one that wasn't contacting first, the one that's less worn, I still got a lot of material taken off. And I mean, I know my own riding habit. I wasn't using that brake a lot. So to go from a new brake at 6 millimeters and this old brake at 4, when this brake really, well, I never used it very much. That's not good. The few times that the cam lock occurred and kept these brakes on when it didn't return, that really chewed up the brakes a lot, really overheated it. Which is also a reason I'm a little bit worried about the bearing. But seeing how the bearing is in this nice big heavy steel hub, you'd have to get it pretty darn hot to get the heat to come into this and really affect the bearing, and it doesn't look like it did because the bearing's turning nice and easy. All right, so take her apart and clean her up.